Hello, everyone. This is Matt from Unbearable. Welcome to. Oh, my microphone is way over there, guys. What if you all can actually hear me? Let's. So let's get the audio. My lame ass audio check going. Lame ass audio check is working. Uh, fight. Welcome to the show. Jacob is running late, which happens occasionally. So we'll hopefully get him later. So let's see. What can we start with? Well, you notice what's on my head. I use Arctic Steel Series 7s, and these are, I want to say 15 years old now. No. 2012, 12 years, 2013, 2014. I think I bought them in 2014. They were a top-end headset, and I got them on sale for half off, and I got a gift card, $100 gift card. So I want to pay $100 for them. They're like a $400 headset. Now, and they've lasted me a long time, and I'm very happy about that. But it's finally time to replace them. So what I've decided, just while waiting, a little chit chat while we're getting over how you all doing this afternoon. While that's all going on, I'm waiting for Jacob so we can get chit chat going, and I have a few articles, a couple things I want to talk about. Let's talk about the Arctic. Let's share a tab. There we go. So the headset I'm considering is this one here, the Artist Nova 7. Right? They all have a USB-C dongle now. I may not need that because I still have the dongle, but this probably will still just work. It does not have Linux-specific drivers, but I'm going to do some research on the option and make sure that Linux has their own drivers for them, what to do for this. So, 502. Anyone in the chat yet? Nope. Let's and these are good. The reason I'm going to replace that, about a year ago, the battery started being a little problematic. Like I used to be able to not charge these for like a week and get perfect use out of them, like 5, 10 hours, 12 hours, 15, 20 hours. But then now I have to charge them constantly. That wasn't the issue because I was like, still, they were a good headset, right? But then something happened with the volume buttons where they just start sliding on their own because there's two of them on this headset. I don't know why there's two of them, but there's some sort of effect thing. And they both slide on their own if I move too fast and basically turn off. Like not the physically turn off, but the lower the volume to zero. And that's some sort of like slippage mechanism in there that's holding up well. So yeah, the first two are the options I'm looking for. Most likely, the first Steel Series 7 or the Arctic 7P. They do advertise for PC on both of them. USB-C is both of them. 38-hour battery, so long battery life. I'll do a comparison and see. Let's see if we could. I'll do a comparison across to see if there's a difference or whatever. Sometimes Amazon will do it for you. What I don't like about Amazon, like when you do you don't have an easy way. They don't have, oh, here it is. Okay. So Artist Nova compare, right? But they don't have this. They don't have the 7P in here, and that's a little like they have. Like, why would you compare $128 headset like our Pro wired? This is a wireless headset. Why would you compare it to all wired? Like that makes no sense, So I'll have to do my own independent comparison to see which of the two I want. And if the other issue is, look at the discounts here. This is $144. I saw this on discount a couple of days ago for like $25 off. I might have to wait. I'm going to order it this weekend no matter what, but we'll see. Yeah. So it's 5 after. So let's get in with what we're gonna start today. I'm audioing you guys. Hopefully the audio. Oh, I didn't share it out. That's dumb of me. Double dumb of me. Okay, that's posts. Legion. We're posting there. And it by. Okay. Okay, so so yeah, it's finally time to get replace that. The other thing that happened tech wise is I bought I've had some UPSs that have served me well for over 10 years now. And I think the batteries on one of them finally did drain off like last year or whatever. But it was still but that one is more or less functional as a super powered surge protector anyway. And let's stop screen. So I wasn't too, like I said, I wasn't worried about that because I didn't need that. I didn't need that the system on that backed up. I didn't mind if they would crash down and have to reboot them, right? However, I'm getting it on my main cyber power. So I woke up to like a beep sound constant. I was like, oh my god, because I've been paranoid ever since the fire happened a month or two ago. And there's an E02 error on this thing now, which is alerting me that it can't even detect the charge on the charger, and that's the one where the batteries did work. So I'm gonna have to replace that power supply, and maybe we'll talk a little bit of that, but we'll go over that. Present screen share. So any UPS help them in the thing, right? UPS. So he wants to do. There's these sort of options out there. Now they make these things a lot smaller than they used to be in physical size with decent batteries, right? And this is kind of what I have a Cyber Power 1500 VA on my desktop area. I run two computers and two big monitors and some other things like that. I have I think it's a 2000 VA on my server, right? So I knew I'd want something like this. APC is a good brand. I would never trust an Amazon Basics one. And this Cyber Power 1500, but because I'm leaning away from Cyber Power for these new purchases, they're pretty good. Now this is a sine wave version, and what that does is gives you true sinusoidal output, AC output. That's a technical term, but when you the AC when you have a battery, it's DC. So you have to convert it to AC to power things, unless you have DC plugins. And what happens is you can have sort of fake AC to keep it simple. And if you do that, most things will work fine. But because of the internal switching mechanism, when you switch over to the backup, if it's not true AC, the internal circuits on the computer, for example, might not recognize it, especially on the server side, and won't retain power. It'll go offline because it can't detect the fake AC power, which will provide the same amount of power, but it's not a true AC signal. So a true sinusoidal, a sine wave output, true sinusoidal provides an actual sinusoidal output, and your computer, servers or whatever can detect them. That's what that means. I know openings with tech talk is not what everyone wants to hear. I'm just kind of chit chat. So Jacob running. So okay, so let's get on to the actual, talking about stuff. So this is a project. This is the New Salem's lot. This movie has been sitting around in someone's vault for like 2 years now. I think it was almost done like right after COVID, and the COVID like downtime everyone had, and it how do I say it? Then it just sat waiting because they wanted to do a theatrical. I think they wanted to do a theatrical release, and instead they wound up doing uh, uh, what do you call it? Because how do I put it? I think the people who made it wanted a theatrical release, not a streaming release, and so that's why it's been shelved. That being said, all word. So Stephen King. Now again, I'm not talking about his politics. He's a total moron, right? But Stephen King's favorite thing that he ever wrote was Salem's Lot. And the original Salem's Lot adaptation is, in my opinion, 10 for 10, the best book to movie adaptation of all time. It's the one from the 70s. Okay. It's yes, there are differences in the story, but they adhere very closely to the story, and they capture the tone of the story, and they respect the original, right? They don't add too much of their own like movie only plot in. There's a little bit of that in the original adaptation, but they don't, it doesn't, how I say, it doesn't deviate globally from the original plot. Right? So, and then a crappy remake. There was a crappy sequel in the 90s, if I recall, or early 80s. Then there was a crappy. I did a video on Salem's Lot like a long time ago, over a year now, I think, talking about all the different versions and whatnot. And so I think I went to detail on it there. But then there was a TNT remake, I think on TNT or TBS. I want to say late 90s, early 2000s. That was kind of meh. I mean, the good actors, tone was okay. It just felt, I remember it being somewhat off from the original, like from the novel, right? So now they're just adaptation. And Stephen King has said it's very good. And remember, regardless of what you think about Stephen King as a human being, and his politics and all that, he's a pretty good writer, especially back then, and he respects his own work, unlike a lot of writers. So the him saying this is good, I think it indicates it's actually going to be good. Now the question is, in the modern era, do they wokeify it in any way? Because King, on one hand, I doubt King will let them bastardize his products. He might bastardize other people's products. I don't know if he would let them bastardize his. On the other hand, on the other hand, he 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 well, he's protective of his own products. I'll say that much. So that being said, I have great hopes for this. So let's take a look at the article here. So there's some early photos. So obviously Vanity Fair. Let's take a look here. Share this tab. Now this gives a creepy look, with the way the vampires were in the story and the original movie. There was a sort of weird ethereal creepiness to them, so that at least kind of has a look there. There's some vampyism there. Look at the hair. Oh yeah, classic. Oh, I hope that it's in the 70s. I hope they did not update to the time to occur in like the modern time, like in terms of the year. That's a very 70s looking hairstyle right there. Possibly a car. Okay. Yeah, it's looking like, oh yeah, those are 70s cars. They are putting, so I'm already very hopeful. It's in the 70s. Okay. So the premise, the main character in the book and movie is he's an author. So that's why that's in. He's played by David Soul, one of my favorite actors as a kid in the original. That's one of the vampires rising from the dead. That's what's his face? The guy who was transporting the main vampire around. I mean, visually, okay, this might be I'd have to check. This may have been a touch of wokeism, but well, okay, I'm not gonna have woke derangement syndrome on this. Sophie Aldred is a good actress. The house looks like creepy, like it's supposed to look. Okay, I'm a little worried if this is our main cast. There's supposed to be another dude. Okay, that's the female love interest. That's fine. Okay, but there's supposed to be another dude who works with David Soul's. Like, did they turn the young teenager that become? Did they turn him into a black kid? That's wokeism if they did that. Um, But if the story is intact, I've always said I'm willing to share and share alike. If the story is intact, it's the original story, and a little bit of woke and a little and not woke, and we could all learn to love together. You know, but they don't ever take that as enough. So, okay, so that's that. Have some hope for it, as they say. Now, Jacob's not here yet. Any note messages? I feel like Jacob is either having internet connections from raccoonators, the R800s that were sent back by RaccoonNet to take out Jacob before he can save the world. That or if he fought the time zone, he does that occasionally. So here we go. Let's go with this story here. Now I am not gonna push much past 6 if it's just me. Uh, I don't. Even though I woke up today feeling funny, like at first, I was like, "Why do I feel so crappy?" And I was like, "Oh, because I overslept my pain meds by an hour and a half, right?" So and that's probably some of it. But I still feel now that I'm moving around and the pain meds have kicked in, I don't feel as tired as I was. So it's a weird day, because like yesterday I felt pretty good, and I don't know why today I woke up. And what's getting me? I think the weather's flip flopping, where it was consistently in the high 80s and the humidity was a certain level, and now it's like more consistently down to like the 70 area. And when that happens, my body gets a little extra achy. So we'll have to see. Anywho, so to surprise of no one except for the Acolyte stands, the Acolyte season was canceled, and apparently they have like blown up like Gary Nerdot from Neurotic has a video where he goes over some TikTokers that complaining, and one of them is like comparing to like 9/11. Oh my god, it's like crazy stuff, And here's the thing, no one, if they wanted this, they should have somehow supported it more, right? Because we're not going to watch this crap, and and yeah. So instead of directing their anger towards the reason behind the actual serious failure, namely Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, or literally anyone else involved in this production, devastated current era Star Wars stands are blaming Disney's decision to cancel the Acolyte on such content as racism and misogyny. A little editing there to fix that. On Monday, on the August 19th, a month following the series season finale, Deadline's Nellie Andreeva reportedly learned from her insiders that after just one season, House of Mouse had made the call to axe the Acolyte. Despite abysmal viewing numbers representing a terrible return on Disney's $180 million production budget investment, grieving stands have taken to claim the decision to cancel the widely panned series, with actors also the company choosing to cater to a supposedly legion of Star Wars fans who are going to handle a story not centered on white males. It wasn't just about the numbers; they just showed how incredibly racist and sexist they are. And also do something immediately after this mess, they're never getting any new Star Wars fans ever again. They're not going to get any new Star Wars fans if they keep up with this crap. You know, you all can read the rest. The rest of this is dead, par for the course. Anytime these miserable woke pieces of garbage, you know, and it goes over a whole bunch of them. It's showing some of the meltdown on X, and then but the TikTokers were the funny ones, you know. So yes, we are free at last. with any luck, oh whatever. I'm not gonna go crazy over it. So our next story is about a classic movie, sort of cult classic, I guess you would say, The Phantom of the Paradise. I have yet to find a decent quality copy of this. Um, I think I have it in my library. I have to check. Let's take a look. See. Yeah, I don't have it in my library. I'll have to get a copy of it. So at the 50th anniversary of it, it's Brian De Palma rock opera. And I remember this movie fondly as a child. Let's take a look see at the trailer.
Sing my music again. Anyone else that tries dies.
I want to tell you of our latest work. It's an opera written by the late Wyndham Beach. It tells the story of a young man who sells his soul to the devil to become a pop
I
star.
remember this so much. This was I as a kid, I greatly enjoyed this, and I don't know why.
It's a whole series of songs that tell a story of Faust. What label's he on?
Yeah. Yeah, Paul Williams. This is where I became a fan of Paul Williams too. And it's obviously a parody of Phantom of the Opera. Okay. The mask, the guy playing the music in hidden area of the theater.
But I'm innocent. Swan stole my music and framed me.
Yeah. So it's obviously a what do you call it? Parody of the Phantom of the Opera. And but I saw this before I even heard of Phantom of the Opera. Okay, and it got me. It's one of the things that got me interested in Phantom of the Opera. I kind of remember that fine because then yeah, hey Roman, Roman, if you want to drop in, let me know. Yeah, this as a kid. You're around my age, so you probably remember this thing like for all the weirdness of it and the quirky music and all that and um it it's I remember just there was a bunch of stuff like this. Obviously, Rocky Horror Picture Show, the Kiss movies. That's okay, Roman. You remember the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the Kiss movies, um, these like rock opera films. You know, there's a whole era of these. There's another film I'm not remembering. I can't remember. But and they got you. They combine like your you had the music. Yeah, there weren't there two Kiss movies, Roman. I'm gonna actually have to. Okay. Let's learn. Let us look together. Almost walked away from the wrong one. Here we go. Let's go to Google. Kiss band movies. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. Okay. Yeah. Attack of the Phantoms, Kiss Phantom. Okay, is that Hanna-Barbera? Well, wow. Yeah. But wasn't there another one? Which Kiss movie is your favorite? Okay. Oh, okay, because the Scooby Doo film and the Red Rock City. Yeah, there was only one actual. There's only one. Yeah, Kiss versus Kiss. Kiss meets Phantom of the Park was the actual Kiss where they had the superpowers. Remember, they pull out their symbols and gain the powers of their avatars or whatever. You know, yeah. But the point I'm getting at, Roman, there was a whole bunch of stuff in that era, like with these rock operas and that weren't just like mainstream rock operas, but had like, you know, like they had ties to sort of fandom with the sort of supernatural stuff and all that. And I think I remember these movies fondly for that reason. You know. So what's our next one? The next one is something I've been waiting for a long time. So one of my top probably 20 favorite TV shows of all time is called Blake Seven. It's a science fiction character drama. It aired on the BBC. Um, let's say, well, let's just look it up. I want to say from 79 to 83, but we'll see. Blake's Seven. So, okay, so 13th episode broadcast in 1978. So 4 seasons and 81. I was right about the time period, but I thought it was a little more spread out. Done by the great Terry Nation, who's worked on Doctor Who, he invented the Daleks, you know, uh, and Blake Seven. There's a lot of great actors in it: Garrett Thomas, Michael Keating, to name two of them. You know, actors you've seen in Doctor Who, if you know. Yeah, but Roman, the DVD version of it is on my Netflix if you're curious about it. But it is a great character drama. It's incredible acting and writing. It's not like obviously the special effects are going to be dated, but it's not about the space battles or whatever. It's about the characters on this thing. And the premise of the show is that, well, spoilers for the first episode, but to explain it. So Blake was a freedom fighter against the evil Federation, okay? And the Federation had ruled over humanity. They become a fascist dictatorship, right? Where if you complied, you had a good life, and you know. But if you wanted any deviancy, not bad deviancy, but like if you wanted any degree of freedom, you didn't end well. So Blake was a big freedom fighter for the against the Federation, and it captured him and brainwashed him and programmed him and sent him undercover, not unknowingly to try to catch the rest of the rebellion, so to speak. And that's how it opens up with him regaining some of his memories. And that's the intriguing thing because Blake, be vague about it, he's not the true original Blake is not the nicest of guys. Okay. But the Blake you meet in the show, the one who's gained parts as you gain parts of memory back, seems like a decent heroic leader, right? So, and the thing is, they go to a prison and they escape from the prison. 7 of them, they become Blake 7 on the run from the Federation for all the different reasons, and forced not, and they're basically forced to fight against the Federation, not because they want to, Blake does, but the rest are more like want to just stay free, but because they have to, like criminals in need, and it goes 4 seasons, and I wish they had done another season or two of it. You know, if it weren't the modern era, I would be saying like, you know, I would be hoping for a remake, so to speak, right? So because it's too late to do a sequel, you know, and it's got critical reception. Yeah, it's just enjoyable to watch. It's such great character acting, great writing. You know, there was a TV show on Sci-Fi Channel. I want to say 10 or 12 years ago called Dark Matter. That's this dark, not the current Dark Matter science fiction TV show. Dark Matter TV show. Not this one. 2015. This one. Great cast and the incredible Melissa O'Neill, of course. And this show especially the first season, reminded me so much of Blake Seven. I do have it on my streaming, my internal library. Um, it was the first season was great, and it ran 3 seasons, I think. Yeah, 3 seasons. I think the second season was okay. Still, great character acting, but I thought the meta plot was a little weak, and um, the third season was again okay. And I think it. I don't. I think it was. It ended on a cliffhanger as well. So there's that. But back to here. So Blake Seven is coming to Blu-ray. Now, there's a lot of Firefly and Farscape, and it is not comparable. Well, it does. Blake Seven does have some elements in common story-wise with Firefly. It is not Firefly or Farscape. Like I said, the subversive, low-budget British space opera sci-fi series famous for breaking the Star Trek style formula. Yeah, that's a more accurate description. Okay, so today the BBC announced Blake Seven is a collection. So the official arrival on Blu-ray with a remastered collection of all 4 seasons, starting with the first on November 11th. So first season, so let's take a look at the trailer. So, oh, Jacob has joined us. Hey, Jacob, can you hear me?
Hey, man, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, Jacob.
I had
It
a mind
happens.
fart and I forgot.
Yeah, I attribute it to the assault by the R800 sent back by RaccoonNet. To take you out before you can say the future.
Yes,
so,
darn raccoons.
Yep, and we were going over the Blake Seven trailer for the Blake Seven remaster. Let's just finish that now. Do you know what Blake Seven is?
Yeah, I've never seen it though.
Okay.
Liars, cheats,
Wow,
smugglers.
it looks so
and they're the
good.
nice people.
I'm innocent.
We're all victims of a miscarriage of justice.
I think we make a good team.
Well, hooray for us.
I'll after this is over, I'll play a little bit of the DVD version of so you can see the quality difference.
Blake is becoming a legend.
He is just a man, backed by a
The
handful
great
of
Jacqueline
criminals
Pierce as
and
Servalan.
His name is a
Right,
rallying call for malcontents of all persuasions he must be stopped.
Right, hang on, everyone. This is going to be rough.
Don't mind rough. It's fatal. I'm not too keen on.
Yeah. Yeah. The making of this is going to be, if they really do a good job with this, because visually this is you could see the footage is cleaned and rescanned what they're showing here, right? So if they do a good job with this could be my favorite Blu-ray release in probably a couple of years, maybe. So.
The Dirty Dozen in space.
We got reviews like
that's what I'm looking
bargain basement
that's
Star
what it
Trek
is.
and things like that. I always negated that. I said no, I don't believe that.
Director Michael E. Bryant. We're going to have a long conversation with him about Doctor Who and about Secret Army and Howard's Way and Blake Seven.
Yeah.
I really loved doing episode 1. I really.
So there is a lot of like, I want to say, everyone knows about Doctor Who, right? But there's a lot of other British sort of science fiction fantasy from like the late 60s through the early 90s that people just don't know about. I mean, maybe you're lucky you've heard a couple of the movies like Hawk the Slayer, one of my favorite movies of all time, but like there's so much of it in that time period that just would be, if you want to find some good stuff, I always say go back to Hammer stuff, which is out of England as well. Vincent Price's work, this like we have 50s and 60s science fiction in the US, obviously the Japanese time, but also the British science fiction and fantasy of that time period. There's some incredible stuff in that you will enjoy if this modern and since you've never seen it originally, not you, Jacob, but other people have never seen it originally, you know what I mean? That superior. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll have something to watch.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Let's play a little more of this.
Enjoyed it, and I would have liked the entire series to have continued like episode 1. I had ideas for the spaceships.
Tell us about what your Liberator would have looked like. Something more abstract, I think.
It would have been, yes.
Excuse me, is this Studio One?
Did
Oh,
you
wow,
feel sort
she's
of
still
green?
alive.
Did you know?
Oh,
Was your
completely.
inexperience? Was that something
Completely.
known?
I had done 6 years of rep, and so I was used to doing big performances on stages in and around England. This was the first telly I'd ever done, so I didn't know about working in front of a camera. It's so different.
You'd always be observing and learning, always that quest for perfectionism.
That rich, velvet voice was a
He
blessing.
was such a perfect example of an actor to his fingertips.
I remember a glint in the eye. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
God almighty, that's amazing. 45 years.
Could do with a little repaint.
I think it's lovely that it looks all rusty and tinny. I mean,
Like us.
like
Terry Nation went to Ronnie Marsh with a page and a half in his hand and pitched the story to him.
The whole show, for me, was incredibly stressful. We were really all up against it. And all you could really have time to do was concentrate on your particular episode.
That's true. And by the way, that comment he made about stressful and you go concentrate on a particular episode, one of the reasons budgets are so bloated now for like media, whether of any sort, is because they don't have like they have so much like redundancy in camera crews and like second and third and fourth directors and whatever. So like every episode where in the past it might have been the backup director and the backup camera crew filming that the episode that's coming up after the main director sort of set them up. Now, like how do I put it? Now every episode has a primary, a secondary director, primary, secondary, tertiary camera crews. Their own. They farm the special effects out, not the ones, but every episode has multiple places doing special effects just for one episode. So they blowed up the cost of these things, big time because of that. Yet they don't produce much of a higher quality of work than these shows.
Tracking us. They'll never give up.
Nor will we. When we can handle this ship properly, we'll stop running. Then we'll fight.
Now this was this.
Go ahead.
It feels a lot like the older Doctor Who, like from this time. Was it?
Well,
did it take inspiration from that or anything like that?
Well, Terry Nation, who is the creator of this show, was a big time Doctor Who producer, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's the guy who created the Daleks.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, this is Terry Nation. He passed away in '97. He created Davros and the Daleks. His Doctor Who. His work on Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote the second Doctor Who series, The Daleks, which is one of the original from the '60s. He first scripts the Daleks Master Plan. Again, he's been as a Doctor Who writer. He's famous for being a Doctor Who writer, but he's done other stuff besides Doctor Who, which the big one is Blake 7, obviously. So.
Yeah.
And then back to here. So November 11th, season 1 comes out. Now I wanted to show. I want to pull up the original work of it, so to speak, the original DVD quality. See if I can find something that compares to. Okay, yeah. So we'll go from here. This would be a good enough example. So let's stop screen, then share screen. No window. Okay, so this is the second episode of Blake 7, right? So we're just gonna play. Obviously, it's muted, so copyright, blah blah blah. So you see, so you can see when you saw the work they did, you can see how more grainy it looks and whatever here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and the colors are more faded. Whereas in the trailer, you can see the colors are more vibrant and the depth and it was less grainy. So that proves that they did not only a cleanup of the film, like they cleaned it and then they rescanned it, so that gets the brightness back, And we're lucky because this was the era, like right before this was when like remember you heard about the lost episodes of Doctor Who, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of other lost episodes of BBC program because up until like the very early mid 70s, they were still taking old tape and filming over it to save money, right? And so Blake 7 is from the era just after they stopped doing that, right? So we're lucky in that they still have these original Blake 7 tapes to pull out of, So actually, And they've done that with Doctor Who with a bunch of Blu-ray releases where they still happen to have the original footage. They've cleaned it up, and that's actually the only because of what Doctor what the BBC has done to Doctor Who, right? With the Woken edition, the only materials of that I will buy are the Blu-rays of the original series that have been rescanned and all that. So
yeah.
Okay.
It was Baker Doctor Who, was some of his episodes lost? Because there's a couple where they kind of go back and forth from live action to cartoon.
The lost episodes are in the first and second Doctors mostly.
Okay.
Let's get the. Does the third Doctor have any lost? No, he doesn't. Doctor Who.
So what was that? What were those episodes? There's like, what was it? It must have been a movie or something.
What do you mean?
Because it kind of cut from live action to cartoon.
Oh, so what they've done? Let me share this to you, President. I'll go to the Wikipedia page for it, right? So over time, let's give the full picture, right? So several portions of the long-running British science fiction television program, Doctor Who, are no longer held by BBC. Between 1967 and 78, remember Blake 7 came out in 78, literally right at the end of the time period, the BBC routinely deleted archived programs for various practical reasons. Blah, blah, blah. As a result, 97 of 250 episodes for the program's first 6 years are currently missing from seasons 3, 4, and 5, leaving 26 serials incomplete. So that's the first two Doctors, right? And now of that, there used to be more, but there are both official efforts and fan efforts. Like there's a dude who on his own time travels around the world because what happened is, even though the BBC deleted their copies of it, right? They recovered a bunch of missing episodes from like PBS, say in the US, for example. That's how I'm one of the few living people who've seen the entirety of Doctor Who, right? Because in America, PBS, I started watching it like when I was a little kid, like I want to say like 78 or 79, and BBC didn't start trying to get back those episodes until like the mid to late 90s. So by then, the PBS copies have been deleted, right? And but they, I remember I think one of the last couple episodes they found was in someplace in Africa, in a local TV broadcasting station, still had a copy of it in their vault, So then that's the guy who's traveling on his own around the world looking for them. So I don't know if we'll ever find the rest of the 97 that are left out there. I think they just found one. I want to say here, let's go to recovery. See if they list all the recoveries. Okay. So unfortunately we can't like do it by year, but the last 2013. So 2013 was the last recovery, and Nigeria. So you remember Africa, Nigeria? Yeah, that's the one I remember. The last, and they found any of the world they found this year, basically, and from NTV, which is Nigerian television, So and that's how they've been finding this stuff. They found 2013 also found parts of the Web of Fear in Nigerian TV, So that's kind of how they've been investigating this. I have always have a dream that they will find the last 97. What they've been doing instead is, since a lot of times they have the audios intact, right, and the scripts. So in some
Right.
cases they've animated the episodes to like if they have one episode, they'll animate the other 4 or whatever. I don't. I'd have to. That's under the restoration efforts. Restoration. So here, so they do one way to do it. They have surviving. They'll have surviving images of an episode. As a matter of fact, I could probably show one of these off. Okay. Well, this is about the color. Yes, so in some cases they only have black and white versus color back. That's some of that as well.
Hmm.
Trying to remember. Let's go find an example of what it's easier to show than to try to explain, Doctor Who. First Doctor. Okay, here. This is a reconstruction episode. So this is season 3, serial 1, Galaxy 4, and this is that. And so let's hold on. So let me stop screen, present, share, window. So we'll do a little skipping here. So you see how it's like grainy and whatever? That's all that survived, right? So what they did, they pieced together the best possible, images from that scene. See how it stops after a while? So the first effort was the audio is fully intact, right? So they took the surviving bits of video they can get from anything and put them in place. So you can sort of get a stop motion follow. See how it just jumps, So you can get a sense of it. And honestly, at this point, I'd watch it once. I tell people watch it once to get a visual sense of it. But if you like the story of the episode, which is a good Galaxy was a good story, then just listen to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's one way to do it. Now I'm trying to remember the Doctor Who reanimation. Let me find the episode there. Doctor Who. I think I have the Doctor Who animated lost episodes. The other thing is, I only have a couple of the animations of the restoration. So I have to guess through which ones. But I still have some of the sort of anyway. I have to guess. Maybe shot. No, I'd have to guess my way through which ones. I have that have the animations versus the original. Stop motion, not original, but the original restoration, which was stop motion or whatever. But so that's kind of not to belabor this in Doctor Who technicalities or whatever, but that's kind of how the Doctor Who fandom would have to deal with it. It's just such a great show, especially I don't want to say that modern Doctor Who sucks. I know the woke stuff sucks, but a lot of Eccleston, Tennant, and Matt Smith, who's right, especially Capaldi, half of their episodes are all bad writing, and it's more about the actor carrying through the story than the story being good on its own, and Yep. So, but you go back to a lot of the original Doctor Who stories, and the quality of writing is why the show is so popular. Because obviously the special effects are hokey, but the actors and the writing carry this stuff through, So,
yeah.
I think I had. So I think I went over all my pre-planned articles right before you arrived, Jacob. So let's close those down. I also talked about my new headset that I'm planning on buying this weekend. Because this one, last night on Roman's stream and on another stream I stream, there's 2 volume switches here, right here. And if I shake my head too much, they actually on their own turn and turn off. Yeah. But this is, when I bought this, it was back in 2014. I had a $100 gift card that I got from someone, and it was half price. So I paid $110 for it, but it was a $400 or $500 headset. It was one of the top 5 headsets that you can get that wasn't professional. the stuff people audio engineers would use, type of stuff. Like this was like the
Right.
yeah, and I've it's been a great headset since then. It's always worked, and then so I had a problem with the battery a year or so ago. I've it started in, so I probably could replace it, but as long as I kept it charged, it was okay. But this volume button thing was too much, and 12, almost 15 years. I can spare the $150
Yeah.
to replace it. So
Yeah, that's good that it
it's
lasted
time.
that long.
It's Oh yeah. I made my money. I made my money on it. You know what I mean? I got my use of it. Right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so that's my pre-planned stuff. No, we could do Jacob since you're here. You can pick this week's book.
What do we got?
So we got mainly
Star Wars.
We go big screen. Well, I turned the background off so you could see it, right? So I have 4 left. The Goonies. One of the Star Wars. There's actually 4 of them. This is one of the Star Wars New Hope ones. Okay. Super Mario. And Stranger Things.
Ooh, let's check out the Stranger Things.
Okay. Now this is a inside, outside, upside down book of opposites. So the theme is every page is going to have opposite stuff on them. Now is it the thing where you crack the spine so it can turn the pages? Wow. Back spine cracked. Hey, Pops. Front spine cracked. Okay. It's also a Funko. For the art, it's a Funko style as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Stranger Things, Inside, Outside, Upside Down, a book of opposites by Geoff Smith, illustrated by Meg Dunn. So, let's see what we get here. Do you like mysteries? Do you want to join Dustin, Erica, Lucas, and their friends on a strange adventure? If so, be prepared for surprises. Just when you think you know what to expect, the opposite can happen, especially in Hawkins. Oh, wow. Wow. I have to say, spoilers for the TV show. I'm on the second page. Okay. Spiders are small, but monsters like Vecna are big. Robin is slow. Nancy is fast. Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot. I messed that up, guys. I'm sorry. I missed one. After investigating the old Penhurst asylum, the girls must run away. Robin is slow. Nancy is fast. Yeah, spoilers. Uh-oh, something is wrong in the cemetery. Dustin is running up to help. Max is floating. Lucas, Dustin, and Steve help her down to the ground. The Demobots are flying over Eddie. They sound like Transformers. Pedal, Eddie, pedal. Steve is under the water. Swim, Steve, swim. Oh, God. Oh, God. If I knew that we'd do this, I'd have music to go with it. When Max wears our headphones, our music is quiet. Most metal. Eddie likes his music loud. Spoilers. Mysteries will lead you to dark places where you might not be alone. Yeah. But sometimes even a little light is bright enough to let you know that your friends are nearby. 11 wants to help her friends, but she is not in Hawkins and makes her sad. Maybe a new friend can help her. Argyle, Peach's little boy, is always happy. My dude. He can drive harder Indiana in his van. Mike, Will, and Jonathan can help too. Spoilers. 11 heads to Hawkins, but in a helicopter high in the sky to stop her. Meanwhile, Hopper fights a demo dog. It lays low to the floor. Eleven must use her mind powers to help her friend. She floats in the tank to increase her strength. Erica runs out out of the old Creel house. She has to warn her friends that Vecna is coming. In the Upside Down, everything is strange. Up is down as Steve pulls Robin through the gate. 11 to the rescue. She pushes the evil Vecna back with her mind power. When the unexpected happens, friends always stand together. Did they just spoil 4 seasons of Stranger Things in one 50-page children's book?
Yeah.
Okay. I enjoyed this. Yes, there's some irony in the fact that it spoils 4 seasons of Stranger Things in one. Well, how many pages is this? They don't number pages in these books, but I think it's like less than 15 pages.
Yeah,
okay?
they should put spoiler on the front page.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
like big letters, spoiler. Although truth of the matter is, a kid who's going to read this is not going to watch Stranger Things. So I guess,
Oh,
yeah, right.
But if they want to watch it later on, they'll be like, "Hey, I read this in the little kid's book."
Well, then they'll be like, 15. Oh, there's this thing called Mom. I found a thing called Stranger Things on Netflix. I want to watch it. Okay, kid. Why do I remember everything happening in the show? They read the book when they were 4 or whatever. I heard of Vecna before. Where did I hear about that? Wait, Demo Dogs? Did I read that somewhere? It's like,
I actually
Go ahead, sorry.
have not seen the last 2 seasons of it. So
well, now you know what happened, Jacob.
Now I know what happens.
Although you should still watch
it's not major spoilers because, but still, that's funny.
Yeah. I'd say I'd give this one a 4. Because they should somehow put a spoiler warning on it. I'll say it's a 4.5 out of 5. They do capture the essence of the story in here. They give the nature of the characters, right? I think you would agree with that, So it would be this would be a cool read for a little kid. I can even I as an adult enjoyed it. I did, like I said. So, what about you, Jacob?
Yeah, about a 4 out of 5. Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
that sounds about right. I just think I like going back to it, like page 2, 3. Just pay the when we count. 1, 2, 3. Page 4 spoils the villain of the entire show.
Hey, and some parents probably wouldn't let their kid read that, even just because of some of the imagery in it.
Yeah, well, that is true. I mean, that's a weird sort of other topic. Like obviously people know. Go ahead.
That can be pointed at kids to get but it could also be fans that grew up with those books that have some shows made into the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it could be their little kids probably might not be the target audience, maybe.
Well, when we get to this one, right? We know in this one they blow up a planet. Well, it's 6 million people on it or whatever, right?
Yeah, right.
So how are they going to handle that in this? Well, maybe we'll do this one next week. But
and Anakin blows up a space station.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's really weird because I grew up obviously both in a community and with my grandma who got all manner of horrible, not bad, but horror shows, science fiction, fantasy, and I turned out fairly normal. You know, like I'm not a serial killer or whatever. Not that you know of. You know, but like, and then they're but then you hear about like real like crazy people who don't have who never get exposed to this stuff they at all, and they go and they become crazy monsters, right?
And
And
they
then
just snap.
yeah, and then you have people who like the like I don't mean to be overly critical, but like the hardcore religious who are like, oh no, if you watch Stranger Things, it exposes you to demonic possession, you know, as if you know, again, not saying God doesn't exist, but if I'm sure that I don't think the devil needed Stranger Things to possess you. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure if the devil is possessing people, he's not saying, well, get the list of Stranger Things people. They're the prime targets. You know, I don't think he's doing that.
Yes.
So, yeah. Like,
let's get the people that play records backwards.
Yeah. You know, or like can imagine the devil in hell like okay, our possessions are down on the quarter. What are we gonna do? Hey, there's this thing called Stranger Things. Those people must be prime candidates. Send a horde of demons that way. You know, I don't quite think it works that way. You know, but that being said, I respect their rights to that. I'm not going to say that they have their beliefs or whatever. And you're a parent, you raise your kids within certain means, so you want them. But I think it's kind of weird how people react to certain things. You know. Okay, so that was our little golden book of the week. 6 o'clock, so we got good time there. Now Jacob's on. So one of the things that Jacob we try to do at least when I have Jacob on is go over a filmography, and we usually get that from Roman's show, right? And Jacob wasn't here last week, and so I wanted to go over the Clint Eastwood one last week because it came up several times. Clint Eastwood's later work. I'm more talking about his director stuff than his acting stuff, Jacob. Right? So,
okay.
Yeah. So it's
a little bit shorter list.
Yeah, because obviously we can. It's almost two separate filmographies. You know what I mean? To do his acting versus directing. Clint Eastwood. Let's share this tab. Where's his filmography? There it is. Filmography. Main article. Okay. So we're going to do the directing. Yeah, wow. I didn't know he has song and song credits. Okay. Now I'm curious. I have to go down and check those out. Before we get to the directing, I want to see these acting, the song credits. Okay. So I guess he sang some songs. Look at that. And he composed some songs. Look at that.
Wow.
Did not know that.
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven. He was a composer of Claudia's theme. Absolute. I like the Absolute Power. We'll get to that in a minute. How is he uncredited? His last film uncredited somehow with the theme. How does that? I don't know. And score. I guess he composed these scores. Okay. I did not know he did the musical stuff. You know.
No, me neither.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about Clint Eastwood's here's his executive producing stuff, so that's whatever. We're talking about these movies here, which are his directorial directing or producing for most of the director stuff. Okay, so obviously he's from early on he's directed stuff he has acted in. He acted in Play Misty for Me and High Plains Drifter, and he was the director, right? So, I mean, just to me, I'm just scrolling down the list here. Like I've enjoyed every film from that he's directed, or produced, from Play Misty to Me through Heartbreak Ridge. I don't remember watching Bird.
What is that? Bird?
Bird is it's a biographical film about the all-time great saxophonist Charlie Bird Parker. Yeah, I remember he did it. I just remember watching it, so I can't say whether I enjoyed it. But I'm not a big documentary guy, you know.
Yeah.
I don't remember this film at all. I do remember this movie, even though I don't think it did well. I enjoyed it, to be honest. And obviously, you know, then you get to. I enjoyed The Bridges of Madison County more than I thought I would. He directed and acted in that one, right?
Okay.
And in this film, Absolute Power, I would put people might not say this, but I would rate Absolute Power as one of his top 15 films easy, either well, as an actor and a director. You know,
Mhm.
it's basically like a political thriller, and he plays a criminal who witnesses a Secret Service betraying their client type of thing. You know, I mean, even his later stuff. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
Even his later stuff. I mean, I don't think the enjoyment factor for these last 20 films is as much as his first 30 films for me. But that, like, Letters from Iwo Jima was great. Gran Torino was really good. Changeling was good. Invictus.
I haven't seen that one.
Did I see Invictus?
I haven't seen that one.
I might have seen it. I remember liking it. I didn't see J. Edgar. Jersey Boys. I liked American Sniper. Well, Richard Jewell is one of the better biographical dramas you ever see. Go ahead, sorry.
American Sniper for me is like, it was a good movie, but it's not something I want to watch again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of movies
Because
like that.
it's rough.
Well, not because I
Especially
agree with
that
you.
he gets killed in the end.
I agree with you about not watching it again, but I disagree with what. Like, I have no problem with the roughness of it. I just don't. I think
No,
when you
it's
watch
not the
a
roughness
biography,
of it. It's just the sadness of it.
well, the sadness or whatever. Like, to me, a biography is something you read or watch once, right? And like, it's very rare that you have a biography you want to see 4 or 5 times or read 4 or 5 times. You know, so,
Right.
Yeah, I get there are people into that, but I'm not. You know, Richard Jewell is about the guy
Sully
who
wasn't bad.
Sully was.
About the guy who landed the plane in the Hudson.
Oh yeah. I guess he had a bunch of biographies that we don't even know about. You know, because you had obviously a biography is hereafter.
Yeah, the guy Sully, he was dragged through the ringer.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he saved every single passenger.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing in the airline industry. When a plane crashes, the first thing they try to do is blame the pilot to save liability. You know, so but as it turns out, that's one of the reasons. I mean, all the anti-government people out there. The government has purposes and things it can do. And I remember having this argument with people like, well, you can just, instead of the FFA, you can have a private corporation. And it says, no, you can't, because their interest, if you're a private corporation, aren't in adherence to what the public want, it's to what the people who own the corporation want. So you do need the government to do certain things, like the FFA, as long as you have them being run effectively.
There are certain things you have to, make sure everything, because you're dealing with millions of people traveling every year. So you've got people's lives in your hands.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but what I'm getting at is you want certain agents like the FDA, the FAA, and all that. They want that. You want them, their interest being in serving the general public, not in the people who own the company. Like, obviously, we have a profit motive even as taxpayers, and that we want our tax dollars to be spent well and all, right? But it's all our common interest. You know what I mean? Like, there's no competing interest for the FAA investigating an airplane between you and me, for example, Jacob. Like, we have an equal interest in investigating what caused the crash, right? Whereas if it's a private corporation, maybe I own stock in it and you don't, and it's in my interest for that to produce results that benefit my company rather than everyone. You know. Now, I'm not disparaging private companies to do detective work or whatever, but I think for certain things, like with the government, you want to do certain things like that, you know, and well, that's why I keep bringing Richard Jewell. This guy was framed so hard. The opposite story. Like, this guy was framed so hard for that Atlanta Olympic bombing, and he's the guy who actually saved everyone, you know. But they couldn't listen. The government. There's 2 versions of this. There's a TV miniseries which has a longer, but it's more boring. Clint Eastwood's film. If you want to know what happened and how this guy was mistreated, watch this movie. You know, it's one of the few biographies I can watch more than once because it shows how horrible the government was going after this guy when they actually had evidence early on. He was the one who saved everyone, and he should have been considered a hero to begin with. You know. So,
Yeah.
Juror number 2 is supposed to be coming out soon. Obviously, I'm interested in it. 50. I don't remember this movie. It's another
5
biography,
centimeters.
apparently. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The Mule. I watched The Mule. I think I liked it, but didn't feel like watching it ever again. Type of movie, you know. So, I mean, looking at his directorial filmography, as far as actors traditionally directing, he's probably the best all time at it. Right? Can you think of a better actor
Yeah.
director?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
unlike, so for example, when we went over Ridley Scott and we found that most of his films after the year 2000 sucked or were average at best, Cleese was still producing good movies into his 80 years old or whatever he is now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. Did you hear that there was a big scandal about him? A picture came out of him and it's like, oh, he's dying. He's dying. People think he's dying. He was actually, out of public eye because he was writing a script for a new movie.
Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see how old he is. Wikipedia will have
He's
it.
an old man. That's all it is. Who's still going.
Don't they usually have his birthday or whatever?
Yeah, it should be.
It's usually at the top.
It's not at the top.
No, you see, it's such was politics. So he was born in 1930, so that should be pretty easy. So it's 70 plus 24. So he's 94 years old.
Yeah,
and he's still producing. Okay, let's go back or forward. So he's 94 years old and still directing a movie. And he produced these good movies here in his 80s.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That. I mean, obviously, you have a lot of older people who maintain their mental health as to very low. So my grandpa died when he was 95. I want to say 96, somewhere around there, and his last probably 3 to 6 years, somewhere in there, he was falling into not quite dementia, but he lost the ability to sort of. He wasn't irrational. You could still talk to him about sports or his memories or whatever, but he was sort of not always there. You know what I mean? And obviously going to take care of himself as well. But Cleese was writing scripts and directing into his 90s. It's amazing. Flags About Fathers. I remember Flags About Fathers. I like that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a 2-part one. Is it Flags of Our Fathers and Letters to Iwo Jima? Those are like a 2-part, but they're from different sides. Show the point of view of different sides.
Okay, so Flags About Fathers, based on the 2000 book written by James Bradley and Ron Powers about the 1945 Battle of Iwo Jima. The 5 Marines of one of course were involved in raising the flag on Iwo Jima after an event in their lives. Okay. Taken from the American viewpoint about Iwo Jima, the film is a companion piece to Eastwood's Letters from Iwo Jima, which depicts the same battle from the Japanese viewpoint. And so that's an amazing bit of work he did there, And I want to be very clear about this, right? So this has to be said a very careful way, okay? Because there were Japanese members of the Japanese military who weren't abhorrent monsters. You know what I mean? But the Japanese military was pretty brutal. Okay, there's a reason why. And for those of you who
their culture was that way, was that way for centuries.
Well, there was an element of that to be true. Okay, that's true. That their culture was pretty brutal, but the Japanese military that arose in World War II was worsened because the previous military, the samurai caste, had largely been killed off or left that sort of driven out of the warrior. So, and the Japanese government raised and wanted a military that wasn't bound by the samurai sense of honor and discipline and bushido and all that. So it got even more brutal, if you know what I mean, than it would have been if it was a samurai. So there were some
more
people
totalitarian.
who, like there are cases, for example, and this is common at sea, where when you would sink an enemy ship, traditionally speaking, you rescue the sailors who jump off, who escape from the sinking ship, and that's an international tradition, for centuries, right? And in cases, there were cases where Japanese soldiers who came with the brutal regime was like gunning down the guys from the ship, and their own officers would execute them. The troopers who were shooting the guys from the ship. So you had some officers who were still, yes, they were brutal, but they were honorable brutal. And this, it's a really weird contrast, Like I said, there's a reason why.
Yeah, it is.
This is my little ranty bit here. So obviously, we dropped the 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? And a lot of people say, "Well, we shouldn't have done it," blah blah blah. And to understand Japanese culture, right? So we picked the smaller city of Hiroshima, but we actually had I think it was 5 different cities or something like that as an option, and we dropped pamphlets for a week at a time saying, "Evacuate the city. We're going to obliterate it," basically, right? The Japanese government could surrender. The Japanese government didn't surrender, and the people left the city. Some people started leaving the city. The Japanese government said anyone else who leaves the city is going to be executed. Okay, so we had to drop the first bomb. Then we dropped the second, but we move on to Nagasaki, which was a big, shipping, industrial, military port. And we do the same procedure, but this time the Japanese government says anyone who leaves the city is going to be executed. Right, so no one's allowed to escape. So we dropped the bomb on Nagasaki. The Japanese government still doesn't surrender. Okay, and then the emperor has to intercede. I don't remember the sequencing here, and to give them some milk. They could just keep doing this to us. They didn't know we only had 5 more nuclear bombs at the time. But they just keep doing this to us, and there's no way to reprise. We have to surrender. And part of the Japanese military tried to stage a coup to keep the war going, despite that, right? So, but that's not the whole worsening part of it. So we planned something called Operation Downfall, which was our part of the land invasion of Japan. The Russians and the Chinese also had their plans, and I'll get to them in a minute. Operation Downfall, to prep for it, they made so many body bags that we didn't run out of them until during or after the Vietnam War. Okay? And they made so many Purple Hearts, I think they were still issuing those Purple Hearts into the 1990s. Okay? The estimate was there will be at least 10 million Allied casualties with potentially 500,000 or more fatalities or more with Operation Downfall, and that there will be millions and millions of Japanese casualties and fatalities among the population. Okay, because they expected them to fight to the last man, woman, child in certain parts. That was the American part of the operation. The Russian plan was to invade and to minimize Russian casualties by just carpet bombing all the Japanese till they surrendered. Okay, and the Chinese plan. Because if you want to know how brutal the Japanese were to the Chinese, because Japan and China had been at war prior to this for 400 years or whatever, and some crazy number. And there's a book called The Rape of Nanking by a descendant of a Chinese person who was involved there. And the Japanese were brutal to the Chinese people when they conquered them, especially in the World War II era conquering, right? And the Chinese Communist plan was to go in and salt the earth and kill every last man, woman, and Japanese child of the Japanese. To just turn the land on to just salt the earth, kill as many as they could, and wipe out the Japanese from existence. That was the Chinese plan. Yeah. And so if we didn't drop those 2 nuclear bombs and get them to surrender, that was going to happen. That was what was going to happen in Japan. Those 3 invasions.
Yeah. Right.
Which probably would have led to more than 10 million or more deaths by the Japanese. Easily, which is, and less than 1 million died as a result of nuclear.
And it would have obliterated the Japanese. They would have been gone.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a Japan today at all.
Because the after we dropped the bombs, some of the generals said thank you. We would have fought to the death.
Yeah, and not only that, so Russia and Japan and China would never have given up the territory they took. Right, so that means the U.S. would have had to keep part of Japan as well, right? So Japan as a nation would have ceased to exist. It's just insane, that people. Well, that the people who complain about stuff and like with the military situation don't understand it.
Yeah, they see the atomic bombs and just see that part of it, which is horrific. Don't get me wrong, it is horrific. But to see what would have happened if we hadn't would have been even more horrific.
Oh yeah, and there's a reason you don't want to have wars. It's brutal. Like all the people whining about what's going on in the Middle East right now with Israel's response to what Hamas did to them. Go read about World War II, for example, or Vietnam, or any of the conflicts before then. How brutal the military efforts are against civilian populations. I talked about it. You've seen all of Master of the Air by now, right, Jacob?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they glossed over it in the show, but I talked about it a lot in my reviews of the actual military campaigns. And that big bombing run where some of the guys got captured, a lot of them got shot down. The target of the bombing run was as the civilian workers were coming out of church, who worked on that railroad. The actual target was their church, like as they walked down the steps, to kill as many of the civilian.
That was the target zone, the church, because it was surrounded by all the working factories and workers.
Well, they wanted it, but they targeted right when they were coming out of church. They wanted to kill all the engineers. Like that was specifically in the plan, and also like the Dresden. Where's Dresden? Well, it got firebombed out of existence. I mean, I'm not defending either way of it, but that's the nature of war. That like the civilians get screwed over. Like I mean, this U.S. Civil War, for example. I mean, anyone who's going to say,
but get this too. Also, the British were bombing at night, so they were bombing just indiscriminately at night, and the Americans did it during the day to get more precise hits on the targets. We went to dangerous extremes not to bomb civilian targets.
Well, that was early, but that got changed. Like that changed.
Yeah.
And and the British at that point, I think I linked an article about this in my review. Like they haven't been being bombed by the Germans, which they showed in Master of the Air for a couple of years prior to that. Even the U.S. getting to that point of involvement, and how brutal it was. And I was saying the U.S. Civil War, we had to end slavery, right, and stop the rebellion. Well, read about Sherman's March to the Sea. That was brutal, but it's just war is horrible, and we should do our best efforts to prevent it or end them swiftly. But on the other hand, when someone starts a war, they're the people who have to be punished, not the people who are defending themselves. This is the gist of it,
Right.
And we got all this from 2 Clint Eastwood films, which is his take on the Adventure of the Island, Anything else you want to talk about with Clint Eastwood's directorial filmography?
No, not that I can think of.
But I think a lot of people think of him more for the like.
There's just more I need to watch.
Yeah, obviously, But I think that a lot of people, when they think probably the first movie when people say Clint Eastwood as a director, is Unforgiven. But I personally, I like Pale Rider more than like Unforgiven. But that's just me. Heartbreak Ridge. I love that film.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. This is what was the famous line? Remember the general? Because the general knew Clint Eastwood's character, like when they were like young infantrymen or whatever. And like Gunny, what would you describe this operation as? A total clusterfuck. It's like, that's such a great movie.
So good. Yeah.
Okay, so it was 6:30. Anything else you want to bring up, Jacob?
Well, I was actually a couple of days ago. I was like looking at Babylon 5, and just looking up the cast members who have died since,
like all but 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because some people may not know that some of these actors are gone.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know I've talked whenever I talk about Babylon 5. Well, the first thing I brought up is how many of them are dead. So I'll say we do it top of my head. Sinclair is dead. Delenn is dead. Jakar is dead. The Dr. Franklin is dead. Sheridan's still alive. That's Brooke Spotlighter. Claudia Cohen is still alive.
Mhm.
The guy who played Zach is dead now.
Yeah. He
Did
died like a year before Sinclair.
did the guy who played Jakar die? Not Jakar, Orlando. He dead now?
No, he's alive. He's still alive.
Peter
Veer, the guy that played Veer, is dead.
Yeah, Stephen Dorff. Veer died. What else? Who am I missing? Marcus, the guy who played Marcus.
Garibaldi. Yeah, Garibaldi.
Yeah, Garibaldi's dead. The guy who played Marcus. Remember Marcus, the Ranger?
No, he's still alive.
He's still alive. Okay, so that's off the top of my head. Let's see how. Let's go to Babylon. Okay, do we got the chat? Okay, so let's go to cast. So Michael O'Hara is dead. Don't have to go crazy. Was you can see he's dead. Bruce Spotlighter is still alive. How old is he? 74. So hopefully we won't lose him anytime soon. He's still acting, I think. By the way.
Yeah.
Claudia Christian, she's still alive. How old is she? She's only 59. So hopefully she'll.
Yeah, she was young, one of the younger.
Yeah, I think she's retired from acting though. Jerry Doyle has passed away. How long did he die? He died in 2016. He was 60.
Yeah.
Mira Furlan, she died in 2013.
21.
Yeah. 2021. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 21.
Yeah. And she was a refugee from Croatia. Yeah. What the whole mess happened there. Roger Biggs died. He died early, didn't he? 2004. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
only 44 years old.
To die.
Yeah. Andrea Thompson.
It was cancer, wasn't it? Yeah,
I'll go back. I will go back and check, but she's still alive. So she's the one I forgot. She played the telepath. What's her name? Talia.
Yeah.
Richard Biggs' death. Complications from an aortic dissection. So he apparently had a heart operation and it didn't go well.
Oh yeah. Man.
Well, there are certain operations you have, or there are certain medical conditions you get, and certain operations you have that essentially, even if they save you or you recover from disease or the operation saves you, that's what's going to kill you with the next 10 to 50 years. You know what I mean? Like my mom had a heart attack when she was like 47 or 48 or whatever, 50, somewhere around there. And now she's like 70 now, but she's had to have repeated like stents and things like that. So we know the most likely thing that's going to kill her is going to be a heart eventually. We know that,
Yeah.
And there's certain things, that are just going to get you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who else? Stephen First. He died recently, right? No, 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
I always think Stephen Dorff, but it's Stephen First.
Yeah, I didn't make the connection, but I was watching the Dream Team. You know that movie, the Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
and he's in it, and I was like, man, he's making some facial expressions that reminded me of something, and then like a lightning bolt hit. Oh, he played Veer. It's Veer.
Yeah. Well, Veer, but also he's Flounder in Animal House, and in Saint.
Animal House. Yeah.
Did you ever watch Saint Elsewhere?
No, I don't think it doesn't sound.
It's probably, if not the best, it's one of the 2 or 3 best medical dramas of all time. Yeah. So.
Okay.
And he was a regular on that. Bill Mummy, is he dead yet? Still alive.
No, he's
70
still
years
alive.
old. Yeah. Lost in Space, and then obviously Veer.
Yeah.
Tracy Scoggins, she's still alive.
Yeah.
70 years old. God. Jason, this is the guy I couldn't remember the name. Jason Carr, he's still alive. Yeah. 63.
Mm-hmm. He's aged well.
Caitlin Brown. This isn't the top for those who don't know.
Oh, okay.
The female.
Yeah, I liked that character.
Yeah, she was pretty. This is how you do a female character that actually kicks ass. By the way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is a reoccurring background character. Commander Zeta, he's still alive. Jeff Conway, kind of sad. He
did. Yeah, well,
Babylon 5, and then what was the show? I love what he was. It Wizards and Warriors. Trying to remember. He did a fantasy show in the 80s. After Taxi. The Wizards and Warriors. There it is. I remember that as a kid.
I mean, those are like the backbone of the main cast.
Well, this show is so good that you were like, I remember even the background character. You know what I mean? That's why I remember the Zeta Commander. You know?
Yeah.
See what this is. The other psychic.
Forget her name.
Yeah. And obviously, was this the first death?
Yeah.
No, I think someone died before him, but
no,
the doctor died before him.
Yeah.
But this is a really good actor. Tomalak, by the way, on Star Trek Next Generation.
Great character too.
Yeah. Filmography. He was in Sicilian. I remember that movie. That's with Christopher Lambert. That was probably after Highlander. Probably Lambert's maybe his third best film. Mean Guns is really good.
Wouldn't he the man with one arm in the
Fugitive movie? Oh, you're right. You're right there. Yeah. Yep. Executive Decision. He played. This is the one where Steven Seagal died in the opening act of the movie and shocked everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is a good movie too. Good action.
Oh, he survived. He just fell to the ground. He's okay.
Well, it's Steven Seagal. He just used it to land safely.
Yeah.
And then Peter Jurassic. Is Peter Jurassic still alive? Okay.
Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah. Filmography. He was in Tron. Look at that. He was in Tron. I forgot he was in Tron. Yeah. So that's at least two people in Tron from.
Yeah.
Did a lot of TV show work. So this guy, other than his couple of big roles, he basically did a lot of like supporting roles and type stuff, So
yeah.
And then even our background character, like Wayne Alexander, he died. No, he's still alive. This is the guy who played Lorianne.
Played who?
Lorianne, the oldest living being in the universe. Do you remember the guy who saved Sheridan at Zahadum? The alien.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's Lorianne, and he's Lorianne is the oldest living being in the galaxy.
Yeah.
He was actually the first living being in the galaxy, first sapient one. The guy. Oh, is this guy still alive? He's still alive. This guy who voiced Kosh, the Voron ambassador.
Yeah.
Zathras. Remember Zathras? Zathras is tired.
Zathras. Oh, Zathras, beast of burden.
He's dead. Jim Toad is dead too. Oh my God.
Who?
Yeah. The guy who played Zathras, he's dead. I did not know that. Yeah. Oh, I remember her. Is she alive? She's still alive.
Oh gosh. Zathras probably die a horrible death.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is the one who played Bruce. Remember Bruce Butler's wife who came back as a
Yeah.
shadow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, his actual wife at the time
Yeah.
was Melissa Gilbert later.
Oh, okay.
Walter Koenig, he's still alive. Who's Bester?
Yeah. He was good. He was good at that as that character.
Yeah. So if you want to know, so there are a couple of Babylon 5 novels. There's 9 of them, well, 9.5 of them that were outlined by JMS, basically that filled in a lot of the background details and events going on. And what was referred to as the Telepath War or the Telepath Civil War in the Earth Alliance, which happened between the end of Babylon 5 and the movie Call to Arms, which was the precursor to the movie show Crusade. The Telepath War happened in that time frame, and it was in the side course novel trilogy, which follows Bester and the Telepaths, tells sort of that war and Bester's ultimate fate. You know.
Okay.
It's like every time you wonder, are they still alive? Every time you see a Babylon 5, that's how bad it is now. You know.
Yeah. It's like every time you go rewatch it and somebody else is gone.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. The guy who played William Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, who was he? Oh, he was he was a general or something.
He was General Haig.
William Robert Foxworth, yeah.
Yeah.
General Haig.
Filmography. Was he in, obviously, in this, obviously you would know him for like the 70s Frankenstein, but Question Tapes, he was there with Walter Cohen was in the Question Tapes too. I remember this. I love Quincy Emmy. I remember him. I remember the episode, you know. Damien Omen 2, the best movie trilogy is, I will say to this day, is the original Omen trilogy. Okay. I remember these movies greatly, you know.
Oh yeah, he was also in Deep Space Nine too.
Yep. And the movie we joked about, the Roman show, when we did the prophecy with the Angel movie, we kept saying, not the one about the giant mutant bears.
Not the bear one.
Yeah, which is a good movie, but you know, I remember my grandma watched Falcon Crest with my grandma. I did because she loved that show, so I just watched it with her. He was in Battle Beyond the Stars. I remember that. Yeah, that's not that's just Beyond the Stars. Sorry, I messed that up. Babylon 5, William Haig. Yeah, it's Dr. Tisa Homefront, Admiral Layton. Yep. Guy's done a lot of work, you know. Administrator Villas from some of the Vulcan character. And he's still working, you know.
Cool.
So, and he's still alive. I'm like about half of the other people on Babylon 5. He's still alive.
Yeah, there goes the telepath, wasn't he?
Yeah. This is a controversial character from this 5th season of Babylon 5. And I always say to people, if you want to understand this character, why his story where it was, you have to read the side course trilogy. Okay. Like why he was a pacifist, because he wanted to prevent the violence that was coming with the telepath war. He wanted the telepath to have a colony with it so that they could be, there was a whole, because at one point he was like Bester. He was like one of Bester's right-hand men, and it was just as bad as Bester. And then he had a sort of moral awakening because he wanted to stop killing like mundanes and telepaths, and that led to his arc as Byron. You know? Anyway, that's crazy. Not crazy. I mean, it's reality because so obviously they're older, so they're going to die. And we're obviously, Jacob, you and I are heading down that train too, you know. But like so many of them died early and young.
2 or 3. I mean, 2 of those 3 of them, died young.
I think more than 2 or 3. O'Hare, well, he's older. He was 6. Well, yeah, 60 is young. Okay, I'm not going to say it's not.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know, a couple of them died. Jerry Doyle died when 2016, so he was older. 60.
He was 60. He was 60.
Mira Furlan was older. She had made 65. Okay. The doctor Richard Biggs died young.
Yeah. What,
Stephen
45?
First, Stephen First, he died old. He was 44.
63.
Yeah. Someone else died young too. Chikar.
No, he was fairly old when he passed too.
Oh. Who else? Okay,
50s,
maybe he was
60s or
older.
something.
Yeah, maybe he was older, but he died like in the early 2000s. So we thought, when Biggs did.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes, he died 2006. Yep.
What, 50, 59 or 50?
59. So it wasn't that? It was just I think he died like around right after Biggs died, and someone else died in that time period too. I don't remember who it is.
Yeah.
Yes, that morbid report been brought to you by Jacob.
Well, it's just to remember those people that were made such good characters and were in a really good show.
Yep. To use a Babylon 5 euphemism, they've gone beyond the rim, and
Yep.
And this is why B5, why you can't follow up on it because a lot of them are dead now. So
yeah.
On one hand, you don't want to see a reboot in the modern era because of the wokeism, but if anyone's going to do a reboot that's faithful without destroying its own story, it's JMS. Even though he's a lefty, he's fanatically protective of his own products. So,
yeah.
Anything else, Jacob?
I mean, it was so good. I just rather than not do a reboot. There's other
agree.
stories you could have in it.
Well, the reason he would do a reboot is to do the actual original story, because the story had to change when Michael had to leave the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a big change to the story when that happened, and so supposedly the remake would reflect more the original storyline, like not the remake, the reboot. Now whether that means so in that case, I would be from a story point of view, I'd be okay with that because we'd see a different story. You know what I mean? That not now.
Yeah.
I don't want to see woke garbage or whatever. But
no.
Yeah. So I think I have all my topics. Anything else you want to bring up, Jacob?
Yeah. No, that's it. I just wanted to remind us how old we were.
Yeah. We are old.
I mean, you're what? You're
52 now. 51.
I'm almost 38.
73 plus 24. Not 73. 27 plus 73.
Yeah, with the actually, I'm past my death date because when I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was a kid, they said I wouldn't live past the age of 20. So
wow,
I'm still kicking.
Does it is it like getting worse or remission or?
It's a degenerative muscle disease.
No, I know that, but there's scale. I don't want to go personal or whatever, but some people get that and they go fast. You know what I mean? Obviously, you go slow, but
they did a geno test or looked at the gene that I had. They looked at my DNA, just DNA strand, and where the defect is really good. It's not, like immediate death or anything. But most of them are like don't live to 20. It just goes so fast, and it's mostly heart failure because it's the biggest muscle in your body. So
that is a heart muscle. Now, hopefully, Jacob, you'll live a long time, and maybe long enough for them to develop a sort of better treatment for it than they have. So.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's all we can hope for. I mean, a lot of with all of our medical conditions that we're all going to die eventually, but that we live long enough that we, could experience as much as we want of life, and then just go like that, so you don't have to suffer or whatever, So,
yeah.
This morbid stream has been brought to you this week by our sponsor, Bob's Funeral Home. Bob's Funeral Home offering discounts now. For the low price of only $10,000, we will bury you immediately. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Jacob, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, I have. I don't think. No, I'm not on anything tonight. I thought I was going to be on Potato Raven's show, but yeah, Tuesday I'm going over the movie Awakenings. It's Robert De Niro and mind blank.
Yeah, I know.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Good
Yeah.
movie.
There's other
Sad
people
but
in it
good
though,
movie.
but, yeah. Had a good cast. I mean, I thought
Yeah,
it was okay.
there's a
Like,
lot of good.
I enjoyed it, but it's not a movie I'd want to watch again, type of thing. You know what I mean? I remember
Yeah,
liking it and liking the acting performances.
I've only seen it once before, so
yeah, but not like want to say, oh, I want to watch it every couple of years, like some movies. You know?
Yeah.
And we'll be on Roman Stream. We'll both be on Roman Stream next week, assuming the raccoons, raccoon Terminators don't stop you by then, Jacob.
Yes, they'll send back a liquid metal raccoon.
Yes, the R1000. You know, it'll have a liquid metal tail that turns into like a spike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what was the giant spider Terminator from the 3D movie? The T-3000. Imagine a giant spider raccoon made of liquid metal.
Spider raccoon.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Jacob coming up. I got coming up Wednesday night Overbooked with Joker Voice on Legion Talk channel and Joker's channel, which we talk about Pro Wrestling, mostly WWE. I will be doing later a video on my predictions for AEW's All in Wembley, which is airing on Sunday. So I'll probably come back to the computer later and do that.
Yeah.
I still have to turn. I'm so behind, like between physical problems and like work related issues. I'm technically on a personal today. And I'm gonna have having to work either today or tomorrow for 5 or 6 hours from the day job. You know, but so I have to get last week's Little Golden Book and this week's Little Golden Book posted up as separate videos. They got some good high view numbers, like relatively for me anyway. Let me just take a look while we're here.
Yeah, I've actually got one more thing that I want to plug.
Yeah, so the Bob Ross one, not so much, but the Jaws got 47 views, which is high for me, and then AF Aliens only 16. So they're getting some play on these little. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing it because they're fun, you know. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you got, Jacob? Bring it up.
Well, at September 7th, I'll be having my first D&D stream. It'll be Horror on the Orient Express using D&D 5e. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll hopefully we're working our way towards that, Jacob.
Hopefully yeah. Still got to get 2 more players, so still waiting on that. But yeah, that's all.
Okay, and I'll have a couple more videos assuming I have time to sit down and make them, which I should this weekend. And then I'll have my follow-up to AEW All in Wembley with my post-match analysis probably on Monday or Tuesday. That's kind of it for me. And so all of you have a great weekend. Stay safe. Avoid armies of invading raccoon terminators. And, you know, if you're going to die, patronize our sponsor, Bob's Funeral Homes, for a discount of, 1% off of any death-inducing thing. Yeah, there you go. Because we're all gonna die, so we might as well use Bob's Funeral Homes.
Yes.
Anyway, have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye, y'all.